first time since 2005, there will be no LeBron James, Steph Curry, or Kevin Durant in the playoffs. LeBron, Curry, and KD are more than likely on their way out of the league pretty soon. And instead of critiquing their place in the league today, we should just appreciate their last years while we still can. Because sooner or later, we will be looking at a league without them. But if you really think about it, this might not be so. After suffering an Achilles tear in Game 5 of the 2019 Finals, many people thought that would have been the end of KD's career, due to the fact that many players that suffered the same injury in the past, their careers have never been the same, with Dominique Wilkins being an exception.
The only player in history who has ever come back in the NBA, fully recovered, so to speak, mostly recovered from an Achilles and still played at an all-star level, is Dominique Wilkins. That's one example out of many. So actually what KD was risking also to me wasn't the money. It was the rest of his career, the rest of his prime. He may never be the same.
KD even recently came out saying that he himself even thought that his career might have been over. After leaving Golden State, these days, KD is well known for jumping from team to team to play with different all-stars to form super teams, which he never had good luck with. In 2020, while seeking free agency, KD would team up with Kyrie in Brooklyn to form one of the most skilled duos, if not the most skilled duo in the league. But due to injury, he would miss the whole 2020 season, and in the next season would return. And despite all doubt if he would come back and be the same KD, he actually came back better, which is unheard of with the type of injury he sustained. Then right in the middle of the season, James Harden would join KD and Kyrie to form possibly the greatest offensive trio we have ever seen. And in the playoffs, KD, Kyrie, and Harden would sweep the Celtics in the first round. And by this time, the Nets were looking like the favorites to come out of the East. They faced the Bucks in the second round, but Kyrie would go down in Game 4. And James Harden was also battling a hamstring injury. So now with everyone looking at KD to save the day, he would deliver his best playoff game of his career. Then the next season in the playoffs, the Nets would play Boston once again in the first round. But this time, they ended up getting swept. And by this time, everyone really lost hope in the Nets. And so did KD, Kyrie, and Harden, because they all would leave in the middle of the season, with KD once again forming another super team, going to the Suns with Booker and Chris Paul. But once again, he still only managed to play 8 games due to an ankle sprain he received in the pregame warm-up. Although he will be healthy to play in the playoffs, the Suns still got torched by Luka and the Mavs, losing by 33 points in Game 7. In the offseason, the Suns would trade away Chris Paul for Bradley Beal to pair with KD and Booker. But unfortunately, the same story would run again for KD. Everyone hyping up the team, saying they're going to go far in the playoffs without even seeing a single game playing together. Teammate gets injured, then get blown out in the playoffs by the Timberwolves in the first round. Although KD still played like the KD we knew him to be, it was clear age was starting to get to him, as he started to miss a large sum of games due to injury. KD averaged 28.8 points on 59% true shooting in his 2.5 seasons with Brooklyn. But at the same time, he only played 129 out of 246 games, which is only 48%. Ever since leaving Golden State in 2020, KD has played with 9 All-Stars and only came out of the second round a total of 0 times. With KD turning 36 in 4 months, it seems like the super team formula isn't working anymore, so who knows what he'd do next. So ever since KD left Golden State in 2019, his career went like this: missing the 2020 season due to injury, a second round loss in 2021, getting swept in the first round in 2022, losing in the second round in 2023, then getting swept again in the first round in 2024. From losing KD to free agency and Klay Thompson to injury in 2019, to then getting injured in 2020, and then even losing in the play-in tournament to a young Grizzlies team, Steph Curry was written off by media and fans, saying he would never win another championship or even make it to the finals ever again. For the 2021 season, coming off injury, Curry would have arguably his best season statistically, finishing 3rd in MVP voting, despite only winning 39 games. But despite their low record, they still had a chance to get into the playoffs because of the new play-in tournament that was implemented. In the play-in tournament, Steph and the Warriors would be matched up against LeBron and the Lakers, but would in devastating fashion lose to a clutch 3 from LeBron. After losing that game, they would then be matched up with Ja and the Grizzlies, where they would once again lose and be kicked out of playoff contention. But during this post-game interview, Curry would say something that people didn't catch initially, but soon enough later, they would catch on.
Bottle this up, everybody make the right strides, take advantage of the summer, and you don't want to see us next year.
Months later, Kendrick Perkins would go on ESPN and have this to say.
This is what I'm saying. It's no knock on Steph Curry. It's no knock on what he brings to the table. I'm just saying the window has closed for the Warriors.
But boy oh boy was he wrong, because in the 2022 season, Klay Thompson would finally make his return after suffering 2 horrible leg injuries in 2019. Now with a vital piece to their core now back on the court, the Warriors' confidence for this season was at an all-time high. This season, the Warriors would finish 3rd in the conference, winning 53 games, and Curry also becoming the leader in most threes made. The Warriors made it to the playoffs again for the first time in 2 seasons, and they completely ran through the Western Conference, losing only 4 games. In the finals, Steph would show that he is still the best point guard in the league, despite being 34. Averaging 31 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, with a 40-point performance in a must-win Game 4. Curry would win the championship in 6 games, finally taking home his first Finals MVP. Before the start of the next season, the whole Draymond and Jordan Poole situation had happened, which would really mess up the chemistry of the team this season, with them only winning 44 games. This would end up being a theme with Draymond that would continue to hurt the team, losing a vital piece of their team in Jordan Poole and his numerous ejections and suspensions. Despite all the madness, the Warriors still found themselves in the playoffs off of the back of Curry, and was matched up with the Kings in the first round, who they beat in 7 games off of a 40-point performance from Curry. But despite this amazing performance, they would still fall to the Lakers in the second round in 6 games. Now fast forward to today, and Steph and the Warriors didn't even make the playoffs, losing both play-in games. These losses can really be contributed to Klay Thompson not showing up in any of these games, scoring literally 0 points in an elimination game. So now with a washed Klay Thompson, who hasn't shown any resemblance of his past self, and Draymond Green, who every single game you have to hold your breath he doesn't get ejected or suspended, the Warriors are in a tough spot right now. And with the news that they might keep Klay Thompson on the roster instead of seeking better younger players because of Curry's loyalty, it's clear to see this team might not go anywhere anytime soon. Ever since leaving Cleveland and joining the Lakers in 2019, LeBron's 6-year stint in LA is kinda underwhelming if you ask me. In his first season with the Lakers, LeBron missed the playoffs for the first time since 2006. He also only played 55 games, which was due to a groin injury that made him miss 17 straight games, which was really his first major injury of his long career. In the 2019 offseason, the Lakers would trade away their whole young core in the offseason for Anthony Davis, who was and still is a top 10 player in the league, but at the same time was and still is the most injury-prone player in the league. They started the season off going 39-14 through October, up until the shutdown of the league on March 11 due to COVID-19. The league would then be shut down for 3 months until July 30th. Teams were approved for a comeback with only 22 teams returning to play, and this was then the birth of the NBA bubble. The bubble had been one of the most weirdest times in NBA history. With no crowds or home court advantage, it was more like professional full-court gym runs rather than actual NBA games. We had TJ Warren turning into prime Michael Jordan, the Suns going undefeated, multiple game winners, and Dame getting the bubble MVP. In the playoffs, the Lakers would run through the Rockets, Trailblazers, and Nuggets, all in 5 games, and would face off with the Heat, who they beat in just 6 games, for LeBron to win his 4th title and Finals MVP at 35. In these finals, LeBron would average 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. Then in the next season, despite LeBron averaging 25, 5, and 5, the Lakers would still only be the 8th seed. And in the middle of that season, LeBron would suffer another major injury with a sprained ankle, which was caused by Solomon Hill falling on him. This injury caused LeBron to miss a significant amount of games and will be the start to a string of ankle and foot injuries that he still deals with to this day. The Lakers would finish the season winning only 42 games, which would match them up in the play-in tournament with the Warriors, who they beat to face off with the first-seeded Suns in the first round, which they lost in 5 games. This loss would also serve as the first time LeBron would lose in the first round, breaking a 14-series win streak. In the 2021 offseason, the Lakers acquired Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwight Howard, which on paper sounded like the best team in the league combined with AD and LeBron. But how far from the truth was that? The Lakers will go 33-49, and LeBron will miss the playoffs once again. This season, LeBron was still battled with injuries for the whole season, only playing 56 games. But despite a bad season for the team, LeBron was still averaged 36-8 at 38 years old. The 2023 offseason would start off the same for the Lakers, having a 27-32 record by the All-Star break. But it wasn't until the trade deadline where the Lakers acquired D'Lo, Rui Hachimura, Fondo, and Malik Beasley. At this point, the Lakers started to catch on to something, and through February 9th, which was the trade deadline, to the end of the season, the Lakers had a record of 18-9 in that span. In came the playoffs, and the Lakers actually made a good push, making it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, but would still end up getting swept by the eventual champions, Nuggets. Then came this current playoffs, where LeBron and the Lakers would lose in the first round for the second time in 3 years. LeBron's 6-year stint with the Lakers has seen him missing the playoffs twice, losing in the first round twice, a Western Conference appearance, and a championship. But how it's looking today, we may never see LeBron win another championship. With the new NBA on the horizon, it's looking like the stars we grew up watching are having a hard time finding success like they're used to, and are slowly fading away into the sunset, and making the way for the next generation of stars. It's kind of crazy to think that in about 3 to 4 seasons, every player we're used to seeing play every season won't even be in the league anymore. So we should just appreciate every player's greatness while we still can, before it's too late. Although the stars of the 2010s are having a hard time getting through the competition today, back then, these stars gave us some of the greatest playoff moments ever. And with so many star power in one playoffs, have you ever asked yourself what was the most competitive playoffs of all time? Well, click here to find your answer.